woman will latch onto any man if he has money or power, and then she'll suck out this money or power and move up to the next guy. Like, women are basically sexual vampires that will suck men dry, literally, only to go on ascend to the next man. What I'm painting now is the most dire, most aggressive, most extreme parts of the incel community, but bear with me, there are gray tones to this, of course there are. The incel movement think that once you've opened your eyes, once you've seen how the world really is, men are sexually greedy and women will trade you sex to get what they want, then you've seen the light. Then you've taken the red pill from Matrix, just like Neo did, and then you'll need to fight the oppressors. You will need to fight for truth. You'll need to fight with us for something that's bigger than us. With us. Like, you'll need to fight with us. And again, why do we care? Like, this is, sure, there are some guys out there who are probably really good at World of Warcraft or League of Legends. Why do we care about this on a broad scope political level? First of all, obviously we care about these men because they don't feel good. We could help them. We have an obligation to help them. But we can also care about this movement because some of them, very few, but still some, call themselves incels, and then they go out and kill people. Be it from Sandy Hook or Virginia Tech or Isla Vista or wherever, we have incels killing people. So we need to care for these men both because of this, but definitely also because these men don't feel good. And it's a set of inherited ideas like blue pill, red pill, women are like this, men are like this. You can mathematically calculate how sexually attractive you are on a scale from 0 to 10. If you're below this number, you're an incel and so on. Like, it's a set of ideas, but they thrive online because where these ideas are discussed, no one is opposing them. If you oppose these ideas, well, you're kicked out of our forum. So you don't see this on Facebook or on Instagram or places like that. You hardly see it on even Twitter. But if you go on the right forums, you'll find thousands of people agreeing and having a small echo chamber just discussing these ideas. Where we see these ideas bridge is when both sides quote the same things, adhere to the same comics, like the same popular culture. It can be this quote: feminist culture will eventually end up squashed because the men have either become too demoralized or weakened to protect their women, or because they become so fed up with the incessant ridicule that they just don't care anymore. So, like, the point is, women will push the good men so far away that the good men don't want to or can't protect the stupid women from the evil men. The Muslims, like, they are evil. The black men, they are evil. Like, you can see it on them. So they need the good men, the white dudes. But feminism is just going to push the good guys, the white men, away so the evil men can roam. So these men, both the parties, will fight feminism, they'll fight equality, they'll fight progression. This quote was, by the way, made by Anders Behring Breivik in his manifest, just before he killed 77 people, wounded more than 300 people in Norway just a decade ago. The way we go about this, the way we work with the angry internet, is by understanding people, because even though it's online, it's still just about people. We know that people hate uncertainty. We don't like not knowing who we are. And if we're in a small community with only guys in blue shirts and only guys in red shirts, well, okay, sure, I'm one of the blue guys. I'm wearing a blue shirt, I'm team blue, yay. But the more complicated we can make society, just add a few colors. Here we got some nice men in gray suits, and we have a few more houses instead of just a barn. Well, then you get more adamant about, I'm part of team blue, because then there are more teams, and you don't feel so certain about who am I. So you're very strongly about, I'm team blue. If we now take this and complicate it, and add millions of different communities, add millions of different movements or ideas or creeds that you can belong to, well, then you get pretty fucking sure that you're part of team blue, 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 blue. Because who else are you if not one of the blue guys? So the more complicated we can make society, the more people will need strong ideas, strong communities to gather into. And well, we got the internet. We got every person in the world, literally almost everybody, almost 6 billion people being online. Then you form very strong identities, then you form very strong digital communities. And even more so, just to push these guys into strong communities, then there are narratives that, if you're a blue guy, there's a narrative that the red guys are out to get you, countercultures. There's a very strong the others, they're dangerous. So we need to form a group. There is the narrative that society isn't fair, society will be dangerous. You cannot thrive in society if you're just on your own. There's the idea that the elite, either the academics or the people with a lot of money, people with a lot of money or power, are after you. They don't care for you. No one will help you. And there's a narrative that you're just not enough alone. You can't do anything alone. In this giant world, like, who are you? You're just a speck of dust in the life. You need us. All of these narratives will create feelings of inadequacy or danger or fright, and we could just sit down and talk about it. But the focus of my research is young men. We don't talk about stuff. Like I just said, like, ask any guy in the world and he will tell you he's fine. How are you? I'm fine. I'm crying every night and I'm binge drinking and getting into fights on the weekend, but you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine. Every dude looking on his screen right now has said that in the past couple of weeks. I'm fine, and really didn't mean it. How are you? I'm fine. Inside, I'm fucking not fine. I need help. But we don't talk about it because, well, men don't. So what we tend to do as people, as humans, is find the strongest group that's clearly defined who's ready to fight for me, because the whole world is a super dangerous place. I need someone to help me. I need my team. And the obvious question right now is, well, if you're talking about white guys, white men, who's the natural social predator of a white man? It's a really good question. And over the past 20, 30, 40 years, depending on your country, we've been fighting for everybody but this dude because he didn't need fighting for. We've been promoting women's rights. We've been promoting feminist Me Too. We've been promoting rights and just basic rights, not extra rights, just basic fucking civil rights for people of color or anybody who's not this dude. So we've been actively over the past couple of decades fighting the white supremacy and the patriarchy that we built a world on. And that's all nice and well. We know that the rights have, or if you agree to the idea that rights have been focused over here, and well, we just need to get these groups a bit up to speed, fair enough. But if we fight white supremacy and if we fight patriarchy, we're basically fighting white men. That might be the narrative that someone could hear if they say, well, I don't have any rights, I don't have any privilege, I don't have this good life, I don't have the good life, I'm missing X, Y, and Z. So if this blue-shirted dude over here see everybody else fight what he feels is basically him and fight to give something to everybody else, to women, to black people, to integration, to immigration, and so on, well, he's going to ask, well, who's fighting for me? And then he will start asking, well, am I a real man? Maybe I'm doing it wrong because I'm probably not a feminist. I'm too white to be black. Am I a real man? And he'll find a counterculture. He'll find someone who says, we fight for you. Society is against you. The others are against you. You can't do it on your own. It's pretty dangerous out there. You need a strong group just fighting for you. And we'll have men's rights activists. We'll have alt-right incels, gentlemen, pickup artists, trolls, men going their own way. All of these pro-men communities we can basically lump together and call the manosphere. And this might just be fringe movements online, but we also see this idea of anti-feminism, anti-democracy, anti-progression spilling over into everyday life. In Denmark, and we really do love to tell everybody we're the happiest country on earth and we're the most progressive country on earth. Last year we had a questionnaire sent out. 43% of the people asked thought that the fight for equality had gone too far. And when we see the online culture, and when we see how much people will vehemently fight women online, this kind of makes sense. You can become a superhero by hating women, by hating progression, by hating progressive politics. And we see people becoming academic superstars by just having one shtick, which is, I'm fighting feminism. And well, if you can sell a million books by saying, I disagree with feminism, also men are lobsters, you have a pretty strong brand. And the most viewed videos of Jordan Peterson and a lot of other political commentators are about being anti-feminists. And this idea of fighting against equality, of fighting against progression, if the only emotion we allow men to have is that they should crush the opposition, then we seriously drop the ball. Where's the emotional empowerment for these men? But I'll get to that. And we see all of these things exploding currently. And the idea that we're working with at Center for Digital Youth Care in Denmark is that all young people, all people in the world want to hang out with someone. They want to be with their peers. We know for some of them, that's hard. And we know that some of these people that have a hard time hanging out with people in the schoolyard, on the workplace, spend time online because there you can be whoever you want to be. Cool, that's a good idea. That's a really good notion. That's part of the power of the internet. We also know that some of these people will stop trying to get friends in the workplace, in the schoolyard, and spend excessive amounts of time online talking about their failures offline. And the obvious question is, well, why don't they just join Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat and get some likes and laughs and loves and some hearts and some smileys and everybody happy, happy sunshine? Why do they go to these, if they're already feeling bad, why are they going to these places on the internet where they'll be told they're a faggot, they'll be told to kill themselves, they'll be told you don't fit here, you don't fit anywhere, but like we hate you and everybody else hates you? Why do they go to this abusive online digital relationship? It's a super fair question, but happy? This idea that, for an example, Instagram promotes that you're happy, that can be super hard to live up to. If you're not happy and you're on a platform where everybody else is happy, everybody else is eating avocado toast, partying on Friday, having sex on Saturday, and being hung over with the guys at the drive-in or McDonald's on Sunday, well, you don't want to be there because you're not. What these people or user-centric platforms do is basically multiply your emotions by 10. When you're feeling happy, you get to share it with the world. Amazing. When you feel like shit, it's multiplied by 10 and it's shared with absolutely no one because no one wants to follow someone who's sad and vulnerable. So they go to the other side. They go somewhere where we don't focus on the individual, or we focus only on something outside of you. We focus on political movements, or we focus not on your negative feelings, we focus on who's giving you these negative feelings. We're not talking about you, we're talking about them. And part of why this works is that the bar for the happy life is made very, very clear to everybody through these social media. And instead of trying to reach the bar, these websites will try to tear it down instead. And they do a very good job of doing so. Like one of these young men that my colleagues and I interviewed said, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. So you guys might not like me, but I'm really gonna fucking make you notice me. If you don't love me, I'll burn you down to the ground. If you don't include me in the game, I'll break up the game. And we see these young men, instead of burning down the village, literally, they find new villages. Instead of joining the village in the school, they'll join the one online. And the ones online will have a very clear explanation of what their role should be. In these formative years, who am I? Who's a man? What's a good man? They'll have a 10-step program. Real men are in the nature. Women are in the kitchen, or maybe in the bedroom. Immigrants are where they came from. They need to go back. And they formulate these plans of real men, real women, and real politics. And they're incredibly easy to understand and easy to follow. So what we see in all these communities is basically a form of hyper-conservatism or anti-progressiveness. We need to stop moving forward, because when we move forward, we give women rights, we give immigrants rights, we take away rights from the white man. It's this notion of power and influence and rights and privilege as a zero-sum game. The more we as a society give to them, the less I can have. There's only a finite amount of privilege. So the more we give to the women and the black people and so on, like the less I'm having. But what these communities do in helping men formulate an identity is just being very, very clear about how you are a man, how you are a good man. They'll be talking about men need to go into nature, men need to eat meat, no soy products, no vegetarians. If you're a vegetarian, you're not a real man. You need to be able to hold a job. You need to be the good classical dude. You need to have one woman and be able to protect her. You drink your coffee black. You do not take cream or sugar. And this idea of who you are put into a formula, put into this is the 10-step program to being a good man, it's attractive. I'm 33 and I'm pretty happy. But if someone provided me with a 10-step plan how to be a good man, I'd probably buy that book. But what we are talking around with these young men in these digital communities is happiness and sadness. And for most of us, happiness and sadness will inevitably fluctuate in our life. There's some days we're happy, some days we're sad. And we're bouncing back and forth. And for most of us, we'll have some systems, friends, hobbies, jobs, school, and so on, that will help us be more happy than sad. For these men, we see a slow descent because they get from sad, their systems aren't really working. And they get unhappy because at some point they can't reach their systems. Their systems become unresponsive. And instead of constantly trying to repair these systems, they give up. They are in despair.